Okay. I just realized that you guys couldn't hear us. You can.
Yeah.
I apologize for that one. That was a long time ago, too. So hopefully you can hear us now. One program tells me you can hear us. The other one does not because we switched over to using Rumble a little bit more regularly.
Let me check that.
So apparently we missed that, and I apologize. Hopefully you can hear us now. If that was 4 minutes ago, the last person said that. So that whole time, nobody could hear us.
Technical difficulties.
Did you respond that way?
Okay.
All right.
Perfect.
So
they say they can hear us now. So
all right. And know what's funny is I don't even get that update very fast.
No.
So
good old YouTube.
Do apologize. What we were talking about at the start was bishopsgunbarn.com. You saw the website. We're going to do a very quick overview of what we're talking about as we stare at the cartridges. If you want to, we can go back over the cartridges in front and we'll kind of start over.
Yeah, absolutely. So AR10s are a very vast platform.
I had 3 screens. That's what that means. So I can actually see both programs.
As we were talking about earlier, just briefly, we'll go back over it. AR10 doesn't just have to be a 308. You don't have to be married to that cartridge when you go into the AR10 market. They come in 6.5 Swedish, 6mm Creedmoor, 7mm 08 Remington, 308 Winchester, our own in-house made 475 Bishop round. Right there in the middle, those are the 2 biggest rounds you can find. That is the biggest AR-10 cartridge on the market, and we make it right here in Pocatello, Idaho. You have 22-250 off to the right of that, respectively, 6.5 Creedmoor, 243 Winchester, and 7.62 by 51, which is the military variant of 308. Yeah, we've started working with USCCA to help get you some legal coverage. If you ever actually have to use your own personal defense weapons to protect yourself, you definitely want to have that legal coverage. They're not an official sponsor of this channel, but we have started a partnership with them, and we're going to be running pistol defense and rifle defense courses, as well as beginner courses to anyone who's getting new into the world of guns. Just that extra little bit of peace of mind that you're getting training from people who are experienced. Chris and myself both have military and law enforcement experience. So, we want to make sure that you're able to protect yourself in your home as well as in the courtroom. And that's why we like USCCA.
Hey, so I'm going to throw out again because I'm the one in front of the computer. I apologize for the muted part. This using Rumble instead of YouTube part, I'm realizing maybe I do actually need another screen because I'm using 2 different programs. Something that we were talking about, bishopgunbarn.com, UCCA. That was a meeting that we had just today. So we're kind of trying to backtrack a little bit and start over on what we were talking about that whole time. And I do appreciate people jumping in. I just was on the wrong screen, so I didn't see it right away. And that is my bad. So I do appreciate that. But something we were talking about, like the calibers you did see in front are not all the calibers. Like we constantly, week after week, in every video, especially when we talk about this guy, the biggest, most powerful AR-10, right? There is nothing bigger. We get told how AR-10s only come in 308. They come in a lot more than just that. Like what you see in front of you isn't even close to all of the calibers. And the truth is we can build them all. Like it's, I did make the point earlier, 22-250 probably shouldn't be the one right next to the 475.
Size matters.
Because it's the smallest that I have as an example right now. So as we continue on, I'll try to switch back and forth. Next time on our next live video, you're going to probably see another screen so that I can actually keep track of comments, because I can't see comments on the screen I use to switch video sources, but I do appreciate you guys speaking up, letting us know. I really do. Another part of this, though, the point of the live stream side, I want to hear what or see what you guys are telling us. It kind of adds to the conversation, because if you feel like we're wrong on something, I have no issue telling you my side and vice versa. This isn't one of those, streams that are going to like try to make fun of you for it. We both work in the retail gun store side.
Yep.
You have no idea what that's like. I don't know how to put it in any other term. 10 people walk in, you have at least 10 different points of view, and 8 of them are completely opposite of all the rest. And sometimes those opposite point of views, you start looking into and start realizing, maybe they're right, but it doesn't meet your Google search. It doesn't meet your YouTube live streams. It doesn't meet any of what you thought to be true until you test it yourself, or you really look into it and see why that point of view is. I want your point of views. I make fun of us. All right. I wouldn't be in front of a camera, in front of people to that literally the world. Even when I was looking at stuff on the people that watch my YouTube side and the views I got, you'd be shocked how many were not even in our country. Like, it's one of those things that please do. Like, hey,
I think
I
one
said,
of the
I just
survival
made a
skills in
mistake.
the military is you got to have thick skin anyway. So,
well, yeah. And the truth, and it's not one, I'm not asking for people to yell at each other or do that side. Be respectful, but don't be afraid to make even if I think, no, you're dumb, that's not how this is going to go. It's one of those things, well, what about this? Like, have that other side. Let's put it that way.
There's no such thing as a stupid question.
No, well, unless you don't ask.
Yeah.
Because then you don't get it answered, right? So what we're going to continue back on to, unless somebody does bring up a point or question or something like that, and I'll try to keep switching back and forth so I can make sure that I am showing what I need to be showing. We're going to move on right now to, I try to do a Google search of, and actually used a few search engines trying to find the different calibers. It was amazing how many different lists I got. There was a few basic ones, like the ones in front of you actually were on most every list. There was some that I was looking at like, no. And this list might have a few of those because some of them are wildcats, things like that. I don't know every caliber on here. I don't know of a single person that knows every caliber out there, because I had no idea what I walked into when I started learning about ballistics and calibers and things like that. That list is ungodly, and you could take 10 of them from that list. I'm not sure you could actually tell the difference between many of them, other than shoulder angle might be different, or you gain 100 feet per second or lose 100 feet per second, but you have slightly bigger round or something like that. So it's kind of crazy how this works. So let's get into it. I'm going to scroll down through the AR-15 side because they're the same way. AR-15s come in a lot of calibers. So this is a Wikipedia link. As you know, anybody pretty much can just add stuff to this. So take it as it is. There's a reason why you're not allowed to use this as a school resource. Let's put it that way. So AR-15s, I knew about a lot of 22s. I've never seen a 17 HMR. Not that it doesn't exist. It probably does. In fact, it might even tell me who's made one. But you've got a lot of rim fire. You got a lot of center fire. A lot of these I've heard of, and yes, are true. But here's some wildcats right here. 20 GPC, 22 GPC, not a clue. I don't know anything about them. 22 Grendel, I know of a 6.5 Grendel. Don't know what those are. Or 224, maybe as a Valkyrie and Grendel mixed together. I don't know. 22 Arc, I love that round. Just throwing that out there. We did a whole thing on AR-15. That's why I'm kind of going through this kind of quick. I think after our research we were doing for that show, I still like the 6 Max better. But this is all AR-15 rounds. Still going. Oh, hey, let's just add some metric versions of those rounds in, and we're going to keep going. There we go. AR-10. Never heard of the 17 Winchester, but there is a whole lot of rounds here. Most of the people, you'll hear 308, of course. That's what it came out with. You got 6.5 Creedmoors, and I knew about quite a few of these. 6 Creedmoor, 277 Fury. If you don't know what that is, well, get with the modern times because that is very new. That one is the newest for the military. That's what they're switching to. We could probably do a whole show just on how I feel about that round and switching to that one. Because, yeah. Anyways.
We have opinions.
Yes. Maybe it's good I retired. I hit my 20 and retired just recently. So, in 2020. So, maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. I'm very undecided on it. These rounds, 338 Federal, I'm not sure much about it. I have heard about them, but as you can see, this list just keeps going. Hey, look at that. 475 Bishop Short Mag. Hey, we might know who builds those. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
And page does not exist even. So apparently we need to update our own WikiLink source. So never actually clicked on that page, but hey, we exist. That's what matters.
That's kind of cool.
In fact, we exist twice. No, just right here. So 475. We build a 458. That's what threw me off. We build a 458 SOCOM. We actually make the ammo and everything too for that. See how this is put. This is not AR-10s. Other AR platforms, that is a whole different thing. They're designed like an AR. They have that type of trigger set up and that kind of overall design. It's kind of like putting all bolt-action hunting rifles all in the same group. They're all slightly different in their own way. And that's where this stuff comes in. And I can't count how many times people have told me how the 338 Lapua is bigger, more powerful than the 475 Bishop. This one, in a lot of ways, yes, you're correct, but it's not an AR-10. 50 BMG, not an AR-10. Just throwing that out there. This is the area that gets a lot of people. Like a lot of these, 25-06 and 7RM10 mag, the 338 Lapua. Not only is the 338 Lapua a long action, it's actually technically, I believe, a super long action. I'm not sure how you define that one, but looking at these cartridge lengths and everything, it's a whole nother area. Now, 410 AR would be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
But they have 12 gauge, 20 gauge. I love the 410 just because it's a light recoil, a lot of fun. Take your kids out. Then again, I do 22 long rifle competitions. So
we actually got one in the store just before I left. I haven't even had a chance to tell you about it yet. But someone brought in a 308 accelerator, which was interesting because you are shooting a 223 round out of a 308 casing. So it goes stupid fast.
Wait, what's it called?
It's the 308 accelerator. It's a collector's item, actually.
Okay.
So they don't even make it anymore. But I was like, wow, that's...
We got that in the store while I left today?
Yeah, that came in like right after you left. Me and Marissa were just talking about it like right before I left the store. But what it is it's a 223 round or your 5.56, just like your standard AR-15 round, shoved in to a special plastic casing and then put into the neck of the 308 round. So it's that same 55 grain bullet going stupid fast out of a 308 casing.
Huh.
And you can shoot that out of any 308 platform. So you'd be able to shoot it out of this. And it's got certain ballistic features that are pretty impressive. But
that's crazy.
Yeah, it was a wild one.
one thing I have noticed with all these calibers, like we're talking about like this list on WikiLinks. I point over here because that's where the screen is. But most of them, and like if you talk to older, like Butch, you got to work with him. Butch, I'm throwing this out to you in case you're watching. But
dude's a walking encyclopedia.
Yeah. And it drives me nuts. But he'll talk about, like, I'll tell him about this new round, even like 6 arc, bringing that up and giving him, the stats of it. Lack of better words, I think it's used term, but and he'll flat out like, well, the 2250 does something very similar, or this round does something, and he'll name rounds, and I'm like, I don't even know what that is. And that's the truth. It's a lot of the new rounds, the 6 arc, doing that research. You got 6 dasher. You got there was like 6 of something.
Oh yeah.
And literally, if you looked at them, like you held one and put it aside and grabbed another, you just put it in the same pile. They're so close together until you lined them up. You're like, and it was right back to shoulder angle is slightly different, or overall length was 0.02 longer, and it can drive you nuts.
Get to play my favorite game of one of these things is not like the others,
and that's kind of what it feels like. Like if you had 10 rounds of one and put one of the other ones in there, you would load it up just like it was no big deal. And we had an AR that had which these 2 rounds are nowhere like each other. So I don't understand fully how it happens, but I hear about it and I've seen it happen enough times that I'm like, okay, there's something I'm not getting there. 300 blackout will actually close a bolt and everything in a 5.56 AR. Your standard AR-15. Most of the time, your bullet gets stuck in the barrel because you're talking about basically a 30 cal shooting at a 22.
Mm-hmm.
The one we saw
is the only thing you notice when you got a squib round is that the pop is slightly different.
Yeah, this one, something went wrong. Like the round actually made it through the entire barrel, which threw me off because I guess that does happen most cases, but wow. The whole magazine, the great thing about an AR platform, you get over pressurized. Your magazine area, that plastic on the bottom or metal, depending on your magazine, will actually blow out. And all that pressure has somewhere to shoot that isn't here. So kind of a bonus, and that's what happened with him. His whole lower receiver went from like this to like this, though. Like it blew out everything. His upper completely destroyed. We were able to save the lower, even though I was looking at it like, yeah, even if I can get this in shape, I can't guarantee this is going to work or that you should make it work. It was one of those, it's up to you. And he chose to save it, and it worked. And he's been shooting it ever since. But he got lucky. It was actually his nephew that was shooting the gun when that happened. And that hurt and pissed him off at the same time type thing because he's the one that loaded. And somehow 300 blackout got put in his pile of 5.56. So when it comes to gun safety and everything else, when you've got a lot of calibers, especially AR platforms or actually even bolt guns, it's the same thing on bolt gun side. You can mix those rounds. Like, I mean, you know what? I'm going to switch back to what we have right in front of us.
Examples of what we've got in stock at the store.
Look at how close some of these rounds actually are. You don't think any of those will chamber with another one? Mark your magazines, mark your guns. Most lowers, in fact, when we build a custom, most of them say multi-caliber. Have some way to know the difference on what you're putting it into. In all reality, I know quite a few people that they'll have one lower and the rest are different uppers that are different calibers. Go back to us here. mark some way or another so you remember what you are shooting, because it can get scary. That is for sure.
And if not scary, at least expensive.
Yeah, that's actually an understatement as well. I am going to set up a video here real quick. Can't promise it's not going to randomly play off to the side here, but...
Oh, hey, that's me. I know that guy.
Yeah, weird. Let me actually get you on screen. And maybe I should just leave it on this screen for a little while. You know, that cool man look.
Oh, yeah.
What you're looking at right here is... Actually, I love that gun.
It's so much fun.
Right. The 458 SOCOM, right? Made by SOCOM, Special Operations Command, something else. But notice, I'm going to pause it here. Notice that color. I love that FX color, the Cerakote we did on that thing. It stands out much better when you can actually see the full video, or full view, I should say. But the SOCOM round is great. It's kind of like the 45. I'm just showing that just because we just happen to have that video with us this time. We'll go back to us here. But there is so many calibers, so many things you can do with an AR. Like, there's a reason why they struggle to ban them, because please describe to me what it is that is so much different than everything else that we deal with. I mean, they banned the pistol grip and adjustable stock. I mean, it's...
Ooey.
Yeah. ARs are... I hate the term, but Legos for adults.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can buy yourself go buy yourself a cheap $500-$600 Palmetto or something like that. And Palmetto is probably the brand I would suggest if you went cheap. Mm-hmm. Diamondback's not better. We have one in the shop. You'll tell the difference because it's kind of rough when you pull it. But if it functions and works well, sweet, train with it, because that's the biggest thing. And that's why we're doing the instructor level training with the USCCA. That is one area that the people, especially that want to ban guns and everything else, have failed at, is even if you want to do trainings and safety side and things of that nature, they don't let you. They'll try to ban that. If you really want people to be safer around firearms, back in the day, they all grew up around guns. We didn't have all the mass shootings. We didn't have all those things. In fact, at schools, people would have their shotguns or bolt actions at the school because they're going to go hunting. And it'd be right there in their window. It's not like they hid it. Now we can't do any of that. And don't get me wrong. The things that have happened, I'm not taking away from those. But we took away from the knowledge of the tool. Like, that is what it is. We took away, I guess the best way to put it is, we decided to blame the tool over the person and made them a star for political reasons or whatever reasons. And that's the area that drives me nuts, because I don't care what tool you used.
Making the subject taboo does nothing but hurt the public.
Yeah.
It creates issues with...
I don't know how I got onto the tangent, but sorry.
It creates issues with negligent discharges. You have people misunderstanding things. You have political figures going online and saying that 9mm will blow your lungs out your body. Not going to list
accidents
who I'm
happen.
Quoting on that one. Yeah. Just
that's an area that bugs me too, is
misinformation and taboo.
Like, I would really struggle having somebody in my house hurt. Mm-hmm. And so training helps. Teach, learn, do what it takes, and then also prepare yourself. Like, insurance is not always a bad thing. If you ever had to use something, and let's say you were just found the way it should be, if you had to use it in a true self-defense, you found, and that was it. That's all you had to deal with. At least you know you have the backup in case. Beyond that, I don't know what more. I'm trying to think of. anything else. I mean, we can talk about this gun itself.
I think we should. I think this is kind of one of those guns that it's gotten some spotlight on YouTube, but not a lot of people know what it is and why it's considered the biggest AR-10 out there. It gets a lot of looks from people in the store and stuff.
I'm going to reach over the camera here for a second. Coke test, and I failed. All right. So, go ahead and keep talking, but I was just going to.
This bullet in particular is pretty awesome. It's that 390 grain bullet. It packs about 440 foot-pounds of energy.
5,000.
5,000.
5,000. Yeah.
Okay. So it's
490 or 390 grain, 5,000 foot-pounds of energy.
It's got a lot of stopping power behind it. And,
oh yeah.
There's a video out there somewhere. We didn't actually get to show it off on this stream, but shooting it, you can actually see the shockwave from the barrel on the camera footage, and that's pretty impressive. It's one of those that it puts a smile on your face. I kind of have the tendency to have resting bitch face when I'm firing guns. So in the video, it's not necessarily reflective of what I'm feeling when I'm shooting, but inner kid in me.
Amazingly enough, it doesn't hurt bad or anything like that. It's just one of those things that
it's about like running an .6. I would say there's definitely some punch into your shoulder, but it doesn't hurt because AR platform buffer tube system is phenomenal at mitigating recoil. With our bull barrel that we got here from Heller, our company that we work for on all our custom guns, that really helps with the recoil. Our own in-house made muzzle brake makes things phenomenal, and it is a fun gun to shoot. It's one of those. It's a rare experience. It's like getting all the energy out of a 50 cal in something that's wasn't to shoot than a perfect 50. And I am a big fan of this gun. I like the ergonomics that we've included on it with our Gibbs side charger upper. It's a non-reciprocating charging handle, which is beneficial because when you're sitting here, you're on target on the gun. Say you have a jam or any kind of failure to feed issue. The acronym for that in the military that they taught us is tap, rack, bang. And that's typically how you're going to fix any jamming issue on an AR platform. What's beneficial about this side charger is typically most of your charging handles sit here in the rear versus up here. You don't actually have to take your eyes off of the optic. So you can stay on target on the gun and fix whatever feeding issue you've got. There are some cases where, you got a stovepipe or double feed or squib round. Like obviously your gun's going to be down and you got to fix that issue on the fly. But that being said, it is a phenomenal piece of equipment that I really like. I love the ergonomics on this gun. A lot of them have these anti-walk pins on your trigger housing group too, which is really nice to have.
That heavy buffer tube and the heavy buffer side is so nice.
Oh yeah.
One bonus, like when we build custom guns too, that's what's so hard when somebody asks how much, and I'm like, well, how much do you want to spend?
Yeah,
because that's kind of
I
have built AR-15 side. AR-10, I think the lowest I probably went is right around $1,300 to $1,400. This gun, as it stands, is about $3,000. But we're gonna switch over real quick to this is BattleBox's SHOT Show. Actually, this is one of the reviews. That is Marissa. She is the designer and owner of the business that we work at.
Best job I ever had.
And this one right in front of you with the Arkin scope, which that's a whole nother subject.
Ooh, yeah. We could talk about Arkin. We like them a lot.
And apparently this was just a quick overview of what they saw that day. Nope, never mind. That's their intro. BattleBox, I love you. Just throwing that out there. Making sure everybody knows what we're watching. Nope. It's not what I want. Apologize. It moved down a little bit. And yeah, this is a long video. Let me get to where I care about. This is our booth. That was actually me you saw for a second there. But somehow I missed that part, and you didn't have to see right on the square side of my cheek. That was some info that we could have thrown out there. But it is a lot of fun to shoot this gun. I don't know if you guys know who Herring 1777 is. If not, you should. He's a good guy. Well, yeah, we're going to skip the part where I start talking because you guys hear enough of me. Let's see if we can get to where he actually, nope, he goes into another gun of ours. So we're going to actually, let me switch over. That's the Exodus, by the way. I have not taken one of those back home yet. I will. And we'll do something about pistol carbines. Let me just pause that and we'll transfer over to us again.
We actually had one viewer ask a question. He said, revolvers, mag, or lever action, what is the best all around? I would say the best all around gun. That's a whole nother video subject. But if you want my quick hot take on the opinion, I would say an AR-10 is probably your best all around because you can use it in so many different situations from hunting. With that, you would have to have a 5-round magazine in the gun. That way, you're
unless it's zombies, then you can have a drum.
And end of the world situation, that's a whole other subject. But I would rather have an AR-10 probably over everything, just because it's something that has multiple uses. It's got typically runs with a big enough round that you could hunt most any game with, especially if you have our 475 here. You could hunt Godzilla with that gun. So, but yeah, end of the world situation or best all around, I would grab an AR-10 just because, whether it's people, rioters, protesters, wild game, surviving for long periods of time, it gives you the most opportunity to handle whatever situation comes your way.
Sometimes it's not about killing the zombie, it's the car they're driving.
Yeah, sometimes it's about the car they're driving, which is where our 475 Bishop absolutely comes in handy. Take out an engine block with that in a heartbeat.
I have to pick the AR platform overall, but we're both younger people that work at our shop too. If I ask that same question about which one, the argument I hear on the revolver side is reliability. When you're using a gas gun or piston driven or any type of gas type operated gun, dirt, grime, everything can affect it. Nowadays, I mean, AKs were known to shoot while covered in mud and everything else. And now ARs are at that point too, in all reality. Battle rattle in a gun, to me, equals good reliability. Yeah, the accuracy is going to kind of suck. That's why it's a semi-auto. But I also love the other guns. I am going to pick an AR-styled firearm just for adaptability. Is probably the best way I would say it.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with like the new piston-driven systems out there. Well, not new. Piston-driven's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
That's one of those that it can kind of eat just about anything. And I mean, your standard AR platform is actually technically a.
I have a love-hate on the piston side.
I found this out actually last week for my schooling. Is all of your AR platforms? A lot of people think they're just direct gas impingement.
Yeah,
but they're actually kind of a gas piston hybrid.
In a way, yeah. So. They use the gas, and the piston is like here.
Yeah.
Um, it's yeah. And the reason why I have a love hate, I love the piston, the fact the gas isn't coming all the way back and all that, but there's still a chamber where that gas is going into.
Mm-hmm.
That can still cause the same issues, and a piston weighs more because you have solid metal going all the way back now. I mean, look at a car engine. You have a piston compared to your exhaust, which is just gas. Let's put it that way. So there is ups and downs. A piston, I like, especially the AK. I can pull out that whole piston and clean it in the field. Good luck doing that on this. Like, I'm not going to pull out that gas tube and hammer out that pin that holds it in and everything else.
That's true.
So, but the amount of rounds it would take to actually completely clog up that round or clog up the actual tube.
You're looking in like 3,000 to 4,000 to 5,000 range, even. Like,
I mean,
it's probably even upwards of that.
If
number.
you killed 5,000 zombies before your weapon jammed, you did a pretty good job. I think you helped the planet the best you could. So
you can go out with a smile on your face
yes.
on that point.
you earned it. All right. You went to gun heaven. Yeah, that's where I'm at on that one. Was that on YouTube?
Yeah, that's on our comment section. We got another one that says, in our opinion, what would be the best small defense gun to carry around? That's a whole other subject.
I go, well, it's kind of like what we talked about with the DMR. I go on the AR-15 side for a defense gun.
Mm-hmm.
We just watched a video on you shooting a 4.58 SOCOM.
Yeah.
You want to talk about, you take probably the best defensive round there is, which is the 45. Gonna get some people on that one, but it doesn't penetrate really deep, so you're not over penetrating going through the target. But oh wow, it's like a punch, like it hits you. That's the SOCOM in a rifle round.
Well,
so
a little bit of history on that one was they developed that round in the late 80s, early 90s during like Mogadishu era, where they were dealing with people that were in a state called excited delirium. So it's where you've shot up so much freaking drugs you're not even a human being, and you
was
don't
it
feel
opium
pain.
or something?
I think they were dealing with opiates. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my history might be off on that. I'm not.
Don't call me on it.
But you know, basically what they did was the 5.56 round wasn't punching hard enough to put them down without 15, 20 rounds. These guys didn't even know they were being shot. So they developed the 458 SOCOM and decided, we're not going to give you a freaking choice. Go to sleep. And that's basically how that gun came to be. We decided to capitalize on that, put it in our AR-15, and it is a phenomenal little platform because even though it is only a 200 to 300 yard round, your engagements aren't going to be much longer than that, especially in the defensive setup.
In all reality, especially defensive side, you're never going past that.
No,
I mean, if you're,
it's really
not defensive if they're 200 plus yards out.
My life was in danger. They were 200 yards away. He was
at a full sprint.
Yeah, he was running really fast.
I can light up a cigarette. Like, hey, he's still coming. Huh, that's weird. Like, it's not a good defense. But so that's actually where I love our Exodus side, which is kind of what you started to see a video of. We will do something on that. Was the fact of a pistol carbine, like so accurate. That 45 that we were shooting in that video, like we were hitting that 100 to even 150 yards, and it was like solid. The barrel that we put on there was what you would consider a matched 1911 barrel, and then we extended it all the way out to 16. So you want to talk about stabilizing the round? It was, like that is like, if I'm going to defend my house, I am not going to build a 5.56 10-inch barreled rifle, or SBR in that case, or pistol. All I get is this giant freaking fireball of unburnt powder. I'm not getting the full effect of it. Use a caliber that actually was meant for those short ranges. So it kind of depends on which way you're going on the self-defense. But to carry around, I guess that's more small self-defense gun to carry around. 9mm 380s are actually great. If all you can handle is a 22, do it.
Yeah.
I
would love to see someone pick a gun that I'd love to be on the business.
I didn't notice the carry around part. I'm like, I'm not carrying this thing around.
No.
So,
no.
Yeah, that would be my suggestion right there. I find that funny. It's been 44 minutes, unless am I supposed to? Yeah, 44 minutes since on Rumble it shows the last comment, but so I'm learning. All right, but yeah, I think that kind of.
I think I covered most of everything for this live stream. I mean,
yeah.
I think we'll probably get more into the defensive side of things. Mostly what we came here to do is talk about AR-10s
and the different calibers, stuff like that.
Was available, because I think at least once a week, I would say, we get someone in who's like, oh, I was asking you for an AR-10. I'm like, this is our AR-10 that we build. And they're like, oh, 475. That's not an AR-10. That's too big to be an AR-10. No, it is, because we did some special work with the rim to make it be able to chamber in a 308 action. And that's kind of the specialty behind this round is that rim right there is
about that part.
Significantly smaller than your standard 475.
It's actually a 308 bolt face. So you can actually use your 308 AR-10 that apparently is the only one ever made. You can use that bolt. Why, dog? Sorry, I have a hound. He's not skinny whatsoever. Yeah. All right. Anyways, he'll knock crap over. Where was I on that? But you can use the 308 bolt face, and the reason why we went that route, you have a lot of pressure behind this round. Like when they talk about the 277 Fury being 80,000 psi, the civilian version 70,000 psi, and gun companies trying to figure out how to do that. That's what this is already. We've been doing that for years. So that is a build we're thinking about doing in the future, just to show that, okay, not hard. It's already done.
Especially because SIG wants $5,000 for that MCX spear rifle. And we're like, we can beat that.
Yeah, we can do it for $3,000. So not a problem. In fact, the only thing we'd have to do with this current gun in front of you is change the barrel. That's actually about it.
I think this one would eat that for
much. It would be a piece of cake. We've been dealing with pressure issues and all that when we went through this whole making this round. It's been done. We're good to go. But the reason why we went through with the 308 bolt face, you have a Magnum bolt face out there too, which is bigger, right? Bigger butt is not always the best way to go. When you talk about 70 to 80,000 psi pressure, that's a lot. I know we just kind of scooted that off to the side because it was something we already thought about. We already done it. But that's why we went with this bolt face. There's more meat to handle those pressures for a longer term. The gun in front of you, 5 years old and been at numerous shot shows, and people have shot the living crap out of this thing. And the only thing I changed the buttstock to a newer, more precision. Doesn't make sense when you're shooting basically an artillery round, but it looks cool. So you can adjust to the scope you have. We did add the Arkin scope. We had our Bishop 1-8 scope on it for a long time. Handled it just fine, and that's a very budget-friendly scope. But that was why. It was so with a big muzzle brake on there, that back blast that you get and that recoil you get, if they can't handle that, then why have that scope? Ours handled it just fine. Arkin, maybe we should do an episode on Arkin themselves, because I truly believe they're the best at the budget. Like we're talking this 5 to 25 being what, $600?
Yep.
Somewhere right around that. Yeah. Try to have another scope at $600, be a 5 to 25 power, meet what you get with an Arkin. And again, not a sponsor. We use them a lot in the rimfire world because even though it's only 50 yards, I'm trying to see a dime and getting that perfect little dot that's in the center of the dime, it is nice to have a clear, very visible dot so I can line myself up, because I cut the line of that dime. It went from 100 points to 50. And I just lost that whole match just off of that.
Yeah, I definitely think we should do a whole video on these guys because up and coming, new company.
I'll do some interviews because we're working with them. I mean, that's how we got this scope and the 1-8 and many others. Was we worked directly with them. Great guys. Saw them at SHOT Show last year. This year, since I have this channel, I'm going to be doing a lot more interviews. We'll talk directly with them and many other companies, because we haven't even talked about the people that make our barrels much.
No.
With the EV5 rifling and everything else. For being a mom and pop shop, we're not actually a mom and pop shop in some ways. The owner of the company has been making rifles since 2009 and has had a lot of these connections that I got to meet and everything else. So we're a mom and pop shop because we are still 100% local. She still lives here. It's not like we own 10 locations or something like that. I say 10 as if that's a lot when we talk about local shops.
For us, it is.
For us, that would be a lot. It's just knowing the right people. You get to learn a lot of different companies that you would never learned of because they didn't spend $10 million with some big name company so that you hear about them. We're not sponsored by anybody, really. Bishop, I say they're a sponsor because that's how we have the gun in front of us. That's how they sponsor us, and
they pay our bills.
We do have a paycheck, so
yeah,
it isn't. They gave us, well, for us, $500 probably would get you a sponsorship. I'm just throwing that out there. Just kidding.
But not.
Yeah, but not. They're just good people. The people I meet, I'm going to interview those people and I'm going to try to show them on the page, because if you're a good company, you got a good heart and you are just trying to make the best product for your customer, I'm going to talk about you. I'm not a big channel. It's not like I reach 1 million people or anything like that, but it's what I can do. So that's probably the best way to put it. And now we're rambling. So we're gonna call it quits. I love y'all, and I do appreciate the people that, especially the ones that say, "Hey, we're muted," and I had no idea.
Absolutely. We appreciate everybody that showed up just to support us. Most of y'all are friends and family, and we love the shit out of you for it. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Oh, then I got to pee and my Coke ran out.
Oh no.
Yeah, that sucks. So there's your sign, right? You got to follow your signs.
Read the room.
But yeah, thank you again. And it does mean a lot. We've went up in subscribers. We've gotten a lot more views in the last couple of weeks. It is much appreciated. I mean, literally 1 subscriber more means a lot to me because, yeah, it's a small channel and I'm new trying to figure all this stuff out. So I would just want to reach out there and say thank you.
Thanks for coming and hanging out with us on Wednesday night. We will see you next week.
Yep. Have a good one.